They told you it was chemistry. That strange, exhilarating feeling when your heart races, your body tightens, and your mind can't stop replaying their voice, their smile, their very presence. They said it was natural for someone to feel this way, that being drawn to another person intensely, almost obsessively, was a beautiful sign of connection, of desire, of life. But Carl Jung would look you in the eyes and say, no, it's not chemistry. It's not magic. It's your shadow. Sexual attraction, according to Jung, is not merely about love or physical compatibility. It's an explosion of the mind, a psychological eruption, one that often uncovers more about your wounds than your desires. Because when you feel so drawn to someone that it leaves you powerless, that's not love. That's projection. Jung believed that deep within each of us lives an unconscious opposite. The anima in men and the animus in women. These inner figures are not just abstract notions. They are charged with emotion, representing the parts of ourselves we've repressed, denied, or never allowed to evolve. And here's where it gets truly chilling. When you encounter someone who mirrors your inner anima or animus, your psyche reacts. It tells you, there, that person holds everything you lack. So, you don't fall in love with them. You fall in love with yourself, or more precisely, with the part of yourself you've never truly met. This is why sexual attraction can often feel illogical. You may know that this person is unavailable, dangerous, manipulative, or even toxic. But still, you feel the pull, stronger than reason. You feel addicted, haunted, spellbound. It's because your unconscious has mistaken them for completion. Your heart races and you can't think straight. It feels as if you've found someone that has unlocked a deep, hidden part of you. A missing piece you've been searching for. But it's all an illusion. In reality, they reflect what you want to believe, not what is truly good for you. The intensity of this attraction is overwhelming, pulling you in even when your logical mind screams for you to stop, to break free. You don't know why, but you keep falling deeper. Now imagine what this means in a world where seduction is weaponized, where people have learned to mimic your deepest fantasies without even realizing it, where some women, without even trying, learn that the way to dominate a man is not through aggression, but through reflection, by becoming his unconscious desire. Because if a man has never confronted his anima, if he's never truly gazed into the mirror and asked himself, why do I crave what I crave? Then he isn't choosing. He's being chosen by his wound. And if she knows how to play that role, whether consciously or not, he will surrender. This is how attraction can entangle you in its web, pulling you into the cycle of wanting, needing, and chasing. You don't realize you're not pursuing a real connection. You're chasing the ghost of what's missing within yourself. When you fall for someone who taps into that unconscious need, you don't see the full picture. You see only fragments, flashes of your own longing and unresolved pain. The desire becomes more about the pull to heal old wounds, to fix broken parts of your past, than to truly love or be loved. You think you're falling for the person, but what you're really doing is falling into your own psychological trap, one you didn't even know existed. The pattern repeats itself, over and over, each time more intense, more alluring, until you can't distinguish between love and obsession. You find yourself in relationships that are doomed to fail because they are based on shadows, projections, not true connection. You are not in love with the person in front of you. You are in love with the idea of what they represent, the part of yourself you've never met, or the wounds you haven't healed. If you don't know your shadow, it will use attraction to pull you deeper, entangling you in its grip. You will fall, again and again, for the same type of person, the same patterns, believing it's destiny, believing it's love, all while your unconscious self chooses for you, driving the narrative of your life without your conscious input. The truth is, it's not about love, it's about your unconscious story, your emotional scars, your need to fill a void you never realized existed. And as this cycle plays out, you begin to realize that the attraction you thought was so magical and thrilling was nothing more than a reflection of your own unhealed pain. The attraction wasn't really about them. It was about you, the parts of yourself you haven't confronted. The attraction was your psyche trying to rewrite an old, unresolved narrative. And as much as you try to run from it, the story will keep playing out until you stop and ask yourself why. The journey of self-awareness, according to Jung, is a long and sometimes painful one, but it's the only way to break free from the unconscious cycles of attraction that hold you captive. Only when you integrate your shadow, when you confront the hidden parts of yourself, can you truly love. Until then, you will keep seeking out reflections that aren't real, trapped in a story you didn't choose. So, the next time your heart races, your body tightens, and you feel drawn to someone who seems to hold all the answers to your desires, ask yourself this: is this love, or is it my shadow trying to finish an unfinished story? He will call it love, but it's just projection. She isn't the one. She's a mirror. Jung said something chilling. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But in the case of sexual attraction driven by the shadow, the transformation isn't always healthy. It can be obsessive, destructive. It can reduce a person to nothing more than their desire. This is the darkest truth about attraction. You are not always drawn to who is good for you. You are drawn to who completes your internal story. And sometimes, your story is a tragedy. You may be a man who never felt seen by his mother. So when you meet a woman who is emotionally cold, who withdraws love and gives it only when you chase her, you feel alive. You think, this is it. But what you're really trying to do is rewrite the past to win a battle you lost in childhood. This is the compulsion of sexual trauma. Not always from physical abuse, but from emotional patterns that were never healed. The woman becomes your battlefield. You try to earn what should have been freely given, and when she denies it, it hurts more, so you desire her more. Now let's flip the mirror. There are women too who are not seeking love but power. They don't want to be loved. They want to be chased, worshipped, obsessed over. They weaponize their sexuality not out of evil but out of pain. Their shadow was never shown safe affection, so now it seeks dominance through desire. And when a man falls at her feet, she feels alive until he asks for emotional intimacy. Then she runs because the moment it becomes real, the illusion dies. Sexual attraction is not always about connection. Sometimes it's a trap, a psychological trap where your deepest unmet needs disguise themselves as romantic longing. It's the nature of the human heart to desire connection, to crave closeness, to want to be seen and loved. But it's also true that we often mistake our needs for love itself. Our desire to heal the wounds from our past becomes so intertwined with our idea of love that we can't tell the difference between a real connection and a reflection of our own unmet emotional needs. We chase after people who embody the exact wounds we've never healed, believing that they will somehow fix us. This cycle of chasing is like a dance, an ongoing loop that pulls us deeper into patterns that don't serve us. The more we chase, the further we drift away from true love, from authentic connection, and into the arms of something more dangerous. A story that never ends, a wound that never heals. The more we attempt to fix the broken parts of ourselves through someone else, the more we unknowingly perpetuate our own suffering. The tragedy here isn't just the emotional toll we take on ourselves. It's the blind spots we create. We cannot see the truth because we are so enraptured by the reflection. We fall in love with the fantasy of what we think we need, not with the person in front of us. It's a heartbreaking cycle, and one that Jung warned us about. When we choose from a place of unconscious wounds, we continue to fall into the trap of seeking healing in the wrong places. And yet, the most heartbreaking part of this truth is that we don't always realize we are doing it. We think we are choosing from a place of love, but we are really choosing from a place of desperation, of emotional longing. The more intense the attraction, the more it reflects the intensity of the pain we are trying to escape. The attraction becomes so all-consuming that we mistake it for the real thing. We think it's love because it feels so real, but it's not love. It's trauma, clothed in desire. This cycle perpetuates itself because our unconscious mind craves closure. We want to finish the story that we started but never completed. We want to fix what was broken, to resolve the emotional wounds that were never healed. The tragic part is that we often seek closure in places that will never bring it. We run towards the same kind of relationship, the same emotional patterns, hoping for a different outcome. But the result is always the same. In the end, we are not choosing love. We are choosing the familiarity of our pain. And until we confront our shadows, until we stop projecting our wounds onto others, we will continue this pattern, trapped in a cycle of longing and heartbreak. The real work, the hard work, is learning to love ourselves first, to heal the parts of us that need healing. Only then can we truly choose love that isn't clouded by projections, that isn't about trying to fix what's broken, but about sharing ourselves with another, whole and complete. So, the next time you feel that intense, unexplainable attraction, that rush of emotions that make you feel alive, ask yourself, am I in love with this person, or am I in love with the story they represent? Ask yourself if your desire is coming from a place of genuine connection, or if it's just the need to rewrite an old, unresolved narrative. Because love is not about fixing the past. It's about building something new in the present, with someone who can see you for who you truly are, not who you were in the past. And that is the true essence of love, one that doesn't need to heal wounds, but one that embraces healing together. Carl Jung didn't say this to make us afraid of desire. He said it to make us conscious of it, to ask, who does my soul reach for when my mind is asleep? Who do I crave, and why? Because if you never answer that question, you will keep choosing the same person over and over again in 100 different bodies. You'll call it fate, but it's just your shadow pulling the strings. So, here's a truth few can handle. Sometimes the person you desire the most is the exact person sent to destroy you. Not because they're evil, but because your unconscious wants to recreate your original wound, hoping this time you'll survive it. That's not love. That's karma. And karma is not punishment. It's repetition until you learn. This is the essence of the first part. The darkness is not in the other person. It's in you. It's in what you project, what you chase, and what you run from. Sexual attraction can be holy, but only when you see the demon behind the curtain. Only when you ask, is this love? Or am I trying to finish an unfinished story? You think you're in control? That you're choosing who to flirt with? Who to date? Who to chase? But what if every move you make in your love life isn't really made by you? Carl Jung warned that the unconscious mind is always active, and the most dangerous part, you don't even know when it's choosing for you. Let me give you a real story. There was a man, highly successful, emotionally intelligent, respected by everyone. But every time he fell in love, it was with a woman who emotionally rejected him. One woman left him for someone else. Another ghosted him after intense intimacy. Another mocked him when he showed vulnerability. Different women, same story. Now, logically, he knew these women were not right for him. He even warned his friends, she's not healthy for me. But he kept going back. Why? Because his unconscious wasn't trying to find love. It was trying to resolve pain. He couldn't stop. It wasn't the women he was addicted to, but the emotional cycle, the patterns he was trying to break. His heart craved what his mind knew was wrong. Every relationship mirrored the past, a twisted replay of the emotional neglect and abandonment he experienced as a child. His unconscious wasn't looking for love. It was looking for healing, for closure that would never come through someone else. He was stuck in a loop, unable to break free, forever chasing a resolution he couldn't even name. Each time he thought he'd found love, it ended the same way, with him feeling empty, hurt, and abandoned again. His soul kept reaching for the same emotional fix, hoping for a different outcome, but always finding himself back at the beginning. A different face, a different body, but the same unresolved pain. And no matter how hard he tried to break the cycle, his shadow, the part of himself he wasn't fully conscious of, kept steering him back into the same place. This was his truth, and it was Jung's warning. We are not always drawn to what is good for us. We are drawn to the patterns that are already embedded deep within us. The attraction we feel is often not to the person before us, but to the emotional residue from our past that they represent. We are not in control, even when we think we are. And until we confront the wounds from which we're acting, we'll keep choosing the same relationships, no matter how much we try to escape. This is the essence of the unconscious. It doesn't care about logic. It only cares about resolution, closure, and healing the pain from the past. Until we consciously choose to face our shadows, they will continue to drive us, shaping our choices, our desires, and the love we seek. And this is where the deeper truth lies. Many of us live our lives unaware that we're trapped in cycles we can't escape. We fall in love with the wrong people because they are a reflection of something we haven't healed. We don't realize that the intense attraction we feel, the need to possess, to chase, is not born of real love. It's born of a need to fix what's broken inside us. The person we're drawn to often mirrors the emotional wounds we never confronted, bringing those unresolved feelings to the surface once again. It's easy to think we're in control of our emotions, to believe we are making rational choices in relationships, that we are acting out of love. But the reality is that we are often acting out of fear, out of a subconscious drive to find the missing pieces of our past, the parts of ourselves we lost along the way. This is what makes us blind to the truth of what's happening. We don't see that we're repeating the same emotional script, playing out the same roles, and hoping for a different ending. The tragedy is that we keep expecting these relationships to heal us, to give us what we never received, when in fact, they often do the opposite. They hurt us even more because we are chasing after an illusion. Our unconscious mind tricks us into believing that this person, or this love, will finally fix the brokenness inside us. But what we don't realize is that until we heal ourselves first, no one else will be able to heal us. We are not in control of our love lives as we think. The choices we make are often not driven by our conscious desires, but by our unconscious wounds. It's only when we face those wounds, when we confront our shadows, that we can break free from these patterns and begin to choose love that is real, love that comes from a place of wholeness, not from a place of lack. Until we understand this truth, we will continue to be drawn to the same kind of love, the same emotional patterns, time and time again, convinced that we are searching for something real. But in reality, we are just searching for a way to heal our past, to rewrite the story we've been carrying for so long. Only when we confront our own shadows can we stop the cycle of emotional longing and finally start experiencing the love that we truly deserve. This is the journey of self-awareness, of truly knowing yourself, of understanding why you are attracted to the people you are. Only then can you break free from the patterns that have kept you in this emotional prison. This is the path to true love, not the kind of love that is driven by projections or unconscious needs, but the kind of love that is grounded in self-awareness, self-acceptance, and emotional healing. And when you reach that point, that is when you'll know that you are finally in control, not of the love you choose, but of the love that chooses you.